Okay, what's good, everyone? It's Nigel here, Trinidad Empowerment Network. So the Prime Minister promised 10%. She promised 10%. Now she's checking the books. Translation: the raise might be dead before it's even started. Today we're talking public sector pay, the public sector pay increase. So let's talk facts, as we do here on Trinidad Empowerment Network, because public servants deserve to know the truth. They don't deserve to hear spin, excuses, and certainly not campaign sweet talk. So let's go back to the start before the election. Before the election, the UNC stood on stage in Sandy Grande. For those of you who remember, the UNC stood on stage in Sandy Grande and said loud and clear, that there was indeed going to be an increase in pay for public sector workers, should I say. Public servants, they say, we are giving you no less than a 10% pay rise. No less than a 10% pay rise was promised to public sector workers before the landslide victory in the general election. Now, that wasn't a suggestion. That wasn't if the Treasury allows. It wasn't if the Treasury allows. That was a promise. It was a promise made to voters, a vote-winning, headline-grabbing, no wiggle room promise was made to the voters of Trinidad and Tobago by the UNC. Thousands of teachers, nurses, police officers, and civil servants voted with that in mind. Let's not forget. So, is it promises made, promises kept? Because right now, if you are drowning in inflation, and especially back then, a 10% bump in your pay package sounded like a life jacket. It sounded great. So, of course, people went out and vote with all their chest. But now, the Prime Minister is saying the finance minister has to check the books. Now, that wasn't said pre-election. She's now saying the finance minister has to check the books. No timeline given, no updates, and certainly no urgency. No urgency behind this. So what's happened? Promises made, promises kept. Promises made, promises unkept. It appears so far. So this is what I call a bait and switch. This is what I call a bait and switch. Let me explain. They baited you with hope. And now they have switched the script. The blame game has been going on for a while now. Have you noticed? I don't know how long you could sustain the blame game. Let's blame the previous regime. Let's blame Rowley. Let's blame the PNM. Blame. It's going to take time. Let me be clear. If this government didn't know the state of the Treasury before making that promise, they have no business making that promise. Let me be clear. If they did not know the state of the Treasury before making that promise, they had no business making that promise. Therefore, they were lying to you, deliberately lying to you for votes, and it worked. And if they did not know, or if they did know and still promised it, that's even worse. If they did know the state of the Treasury and still promised it, that's even worse because they lied to you. Because that then means the promise was never real. It was a campaign gimmick, as it's turning out to be so far. So let's see if this pay rise does indeed happen. And if it does happen, I've got some news for you. It's coming at your expense, taxpayers' expense. So let's stop pretending. Let's stop pretending. A 10% increase across the public sector is going to cost billions. It's going to cost billions of TT dollars. And now you have to ask yourself, like I've previously alluded to, you have to ask yourself, where is that money coming from? Where is that money coming from? Are they raising taxes on the 1%? The millionaires and billionaires? Are they raising taxes on big businesses? Or the oil and gas multinational companies, the BPs, the Shells, the Perencos, that's robbing this country blind? And I would highly suggest that's a no. That's not who they're going to raise taxes on. That's not where the money is going to come from. So you're probably already guessing, you're probably already working out where the 10% increase in wages for public sector who deserve that increase, where is that money going to come from? Because there's no plan to raise money by taxing the rich. So where do you think the burden is going to fall? I'm not going to leave you in suspense. You've probably already worked this out. It's you. It's you. It's you, the working class. It's the poor. It's the same people who were promised that raise. It's you that's going to pay for this. So we're robbing Peter to pay Paul. We're robbing Peter to pay Paul. Mark my words. If this raise comes, if it does indeed happen, if they follow through on their campaign promise, it will come with a rise in VAT. It will come with a rise in duties and fuel prices or some other quiet tax that hits the everyday man harder than it hits any millionaire or billionaire in Trinidad and Tobago. Just like we've seen in other countries similar, or just like we've seen in countries like the UK. So here in the UK or over in the UK, public sector workers got a pay rise as promised by the government when they came in, the Labour Party, who won the election in the UK. But guess what? But guess who funded that pay rise? They funded that pay rise with a NIS, a national insurance increase. They funded that pay rise with something called council tax that we have in the UK, council tax hikes. They funded that pay rise with borrowing that future generations will have to pay off. And the impact is ordinary people saw less take-home pay, even with a pay rise. Ordinary people saw less take-home pay, even with a pay rise. I say they are robbing Peter to pay Paul. Because when governments want to fund something, but refuse to tax the rich, refuse to tax the wealthy, they squeeze the middleman and they squeeze everyone at the bottom every single time. Every single time. So this isn't just unique to Trinidad. This happens in the UK as well. So let me say this, and I want to be clear when I say this. Yes, our public sector workers, our public servants, for want of a better phrase, deserves a raise. They deserve their pay rise. And yes, it is long overdue. Yes, living cost in Trinidad is rising. People are suffocating. Living cost is increasing. Of course, people deserve a pay rise to keep up. It's only natural. It's only normal. But this, for me, is about honesty and accountability. This, for me, is about honesty and accountability. The UNC made a promise. Now they're backpedaling. You cannot keep blaming the previous regime. Eventually, people are going to get fed up and question, what are you actually doing? What is your plan? It doesn't appear you have many. And if they think they could just continue the blame game, here's a news flash for you. Here is a news flash for you. You are in charge now. In case you hadn't noticed, you are in charge now. You made the promises. You win the responsibility. You made the promises. You win the responsibility. Now follow through. All this nonsense about it takes time. It's just excuses. No more excuses. No more we didn't know. No more it takes time. The central bank publishes reports. The IMF publishes forecasts. The entire country knows the treasury is empty. The UNC, I would suggest, knew that too before they made their promises. So don't insult the people of Trinidad and Tobago's intelligence. Do not insult their intelligence. People are wising up to this. People are becoming aware to your nonsense and your excuses. You could only run those excuses for so long. So this ain't about rushing a pay rise. This isn't about rushing a pay rise. It's about trust. It's about the words you say and the words you keep. It's about trust. The Prime Minister's first real test as Prime Minister is here right now. It is here right now. So will she honor her words? Will she honor her words? Or will this be yet another story of sweet talk before the election? This is what it's turning out to be. Sweet talk before a general election and betrayal after the votes are counted. This is not just exclusive to the UNC party. Most parties do this. The difference now is that people are waking up to the nonsense. People are becoming aware of the nonsense because people are watching. People are taking notes. And like I say, people are waking up. So let's see what happens now. Let's see what happens now. This is Trinidad Empowerment Network. No spin, no party loyalty, just facts. So please like, please share, please subscribe. Please subscribe. Quite a large percentage of you are still not subscribed to this channel. It's the only way we could grow. There's no point in me doing these videos and talking about these things if we're not growing, because the only way we could hold them accountable is if we grow large enough to hold them accountable. And I promise you, I will continue to bring you the best videos as I can, do the best research as best as I can, and bring you the best information as best as I can. And maybe some interviews in the future too. Who knows? Let's see. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you to each and every single one of you. You make this channel, not me. And I'll see you guys on the next video. For now, much love. God bless. Take care. Peace.